Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe. Very excited for today's show. Got somebody on the line today that I've known for quite a while. We got Vlad Arakcheyev. So, Vlad, welcome to the show today.
Thanks so much, Brian. Yeah, we do know each other for quite a long time now.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know we've seen each other at a lot of conferences. I don't remember how long. It's probably been more than 3 years, is what I'm
I would
guessing.
say so, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm guessing 3 to 4 is where I'd pin that tail on the donkey. So anyway, do us a favor, tell us about yourself.
My name is Vlad, and I live in Jersey.
Mhm.
I started my career being a residential agent, and I still am actually. And slowly I moved into flipping, then did some wholesaling, realized it wasn't for me, had some single family rentals also in Jersey, and then realized that it wasn't very landlord friendly state and it
Oh,
was quite messy. And then I transitioned to multifamily, and where I'm investing in Midwest, a few places in Texas to be exact, and actually in the Carolinas now. But I started my journey in during COVID, which is
mhm.
was kind of weird time to start. But the thing is,
Yes.
I was a graphic designer. And I
Mhm.
got furloughed. I got, let go. First 2 months were, I'll be honest, were fun because I mean, I was just hanging out, collecting unemployment. But
Yeah.
then I realized, I'm like, oh boy, when it's gonna end? Where's the money? Where am I gonna?
Music's gonna stop at some point. Yeah, right?
Exactly. So I didn't want to go back, and my wife encouraged me to try real estate. I mean, for
Mhm.
tax purposes, being self-employed, and initially we wanted to have like a second income, and that would be real estate. But now since then, I pretty much quit my W-2 about 8 months after I started, and I'm full-time in real estate.
Awesome. What did that transition or what did that starting commercial real estate look like for you? And specifically, let's talk about some of the challenges you faced.
Yeah, incredibly difficult and very scary because a lot of people hear like, oh my gosh, you need so much money to buy multifamily and where am I going to get the money from and stuff like that. There are no all the, I say, correct ways to buy real estate like
Mhm.
syndications and joint ventures and finding deals and there's creative strategies to buy real estate. So technically, you don't need a lot of money to start,
Yeah.
but you need something, right? You
Yeah.
need some sort of a skill or knowledge or something. So for me, when I was doing single family, it was a lot of fun, and I still do. I should say was. I still am doing it. And that's where I learned hard work, of course. And listen, you have to work hard because as I speak with a lot of agents, they don't work from 9 to 5. It's a 7-day job. And most of the stuff is happening on a weekend. So,
Mhm.
so that's why I learned. And also delayed gratification. Because if you get a property on the contract now, you'll get paid when it closes in 2 months.
Yeah.
So you basically now work for nothing.
Yeah.
You work for free. So
Mhm.
that's why I learned to kind of, pace myself and not be discouraged by the downs that come
Yeah.
with as a business owner,
Yeah.
honestly. But I went to a multifamily event in Texas and I really connected with a lot of people that were in the same space and they were going through the same challenges and difficulties as me. And that's why it's very important to be part of the community and be consistent, not just like once or twice. Like Brian said in the beginning, we've seen each other multiple times face to
Yeah.
face, and I go to his TGIF
Mhm.
Zoom call pretty much every Friday. So it's
Yeah.
really important to be part of the community and always learning and growing together. So
Yeah.
it is difficult, but
Mhm.
the consistency and not giving up is the key. Because
Yeah.
just to give you an example, it took me about 8 months to find something decent in multifamily. And
Yeah.
mind you, 3 years ago, when money was just flowing, the
Mhm.
rates were like at 3% or something like
Yep.
that. It took
Banks
me
were
eight
giving money
months.
away. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
people were giving. There you go. And it took me 8 months. Now, if people close 1 or 2 deals a year with what's
Mm.
happening today, and it's October 31st,
Yep.
Halloween, you see the thing here, 1 deal or 2 deals in a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really need a lot of patience.
Yeah, patience is absolutely necessary. And just kind of doubling down on a couple things you said. It took me, you said, I think 8 months for your first deal. It took me about the same. I started my clock when I started my coaching program. I'd been looking for deals prior to that, but when I got into a coaching program, that's when I really started my clock. And then it took 8 months after that. And then one more thing, you mentioned, residential real estate, you get a client and it's going to be several months before you get a paycheck. It's similar with what we do. And you mentioned that, but one thing I think is nice, different but nice, but when you close on a property like we're doing, you get two paychecks. You get one paycheck when you close, and then when you sell the property several years later, depending on your hold period, you get another check, And so every time you do a multifamily property, you're basically lining yourself up with two checks, one right now and another one 3 to 5 years from now, which is super nice.
It
Be
is.
able to start stacking really quickly.
That's the thing, though. You got to stack them because a lot of people think, oh, it's going to happen right away, but it's not. It's like a 5-year cycle if you think about it. Because
Yep.
as you put, just think of it as a conveyor belt, and you put properties on a conveyor belt, and year 1, 2, 3. So between year 2 and 5, you get pretty much nothing. Maybe you get cash flow, yeah, but not huge money or refi. You get a lot of money at refi, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're kind of planning on that, but you get nothing. So
Yeah.
it's really, really important to have other source of income, or I don't know, I would say structure the deals correctly so you would get cash flow, enough money to live on. So that's
Yeah.
important, and just keep on grinding. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier it is a business and you have to treat it like a business. And you did it a little different. I mean, you were in a spot where you were unemployed, building a business, and looking for cash flow. I think most people when they come in, it's a side hustle till it's big enough until it can support, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what I did. I built it as a side hustle, and after a couple of years, my side hustle was making more money than my main hustle. And so, yeah, I mean, made the obvious choice there.
I tried that too. And you know what? I realized that
Mhm.
when I tried to having it as a side hustle, it didn't work for me because I started losing deals. Like, I'll give you an example. I worked from 9 to 5, right? And I
Mhm.
couldn't pick up the phone during that time. So I get a lot of calls from clients. At that time, I was flipping houses and doing few wholesaling deals and stuff like that. So when you have calls, and you know how it is, right? When somebody calls a realtor, they got to pick up right away or call back
Mhm.
within 5 minutes. If they don't call or call you after 8 hours, they already found somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's why I lost so many deals because of this. And I'm thinking, how much money did I lose here? Maybe I lost 20 grand in commission, maybe more. And was it really worth it? So my
Yeah.
wife and I made this decision where we had savings, and my wife works in financial field as well. And she goes, listen,
Yeah.
let's do it. We might have a difficult time in the beginning, but that's
Mhm.
every business person. You're
Yeah.
literally working on your business,
Yeah.
and you see business owners grinding nonstop and working really hard. And of course, they have ups and downs. A lot of downs in the beginning, but eventually, if you kind of put your mind right and just have your be in the right space, be in the right community, then you will grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is like anything else, lots of ups and downs, but going back to what you said earlier, consistency and patience, consistency and patience. You keep on working and you exercise, both those muscles, eventually, things are going to start paying off,
absolutely.
Obviously you have to be doing the right things. And I'd suggest finding somebody to help you do those right things. But
Mentorship is the key. Listen, you can try to do it yourself and you can do it, but I always give this example. It's like skiing, right? You can go up and down the mountain without a teacher. You can fall down 20 times. It'll take you like 3 days to learn how to go on the easiest, like on the bunny slope
yeah,
or something like that. Or you get a teacher, you pay them $200, and after a day or so, you're going on a diamond. So
yeah,
this type of thing. So just think of it this way: you paying somebody else to avoid mistakes, or paying so they would teach you what not to do. Because I
ab-
mean, you'll do some stupid stuff, but they'll tell you, hey, listen, because it's a lot of money that you kind of playing with, and most importantly, is not just your money, it's your investors' money.
yeah.
So number one thing is reputation. So
Mhm.
if you screw up a deal, word spreads. It's a small community and people will know. So it's really important to protect your reputation. And of course, be as a professional. You have to be a pro in this field. You're not just you're not in the little leagues anymore. You
Yeah.
play, you're playing on a different level. You're up here.
I love the skiing example because that's how I learned how to ski, with
Yeah.
friends, got taught, dropped off at the top and see at the bottom. And it's not the best way to do it. And I mean, when I came through my progression, I didn't want to gamble with other people's money, So my goal was to find something for myself first. I had a handful of single family, right? But I wanted to find a bunch of multifamily properties that I did myself as proof of concept. But when you go through coaching, I had a little bit more confidence, and I had somebody experienced on the team. And actually, we partnered with our coach, and that kind of gave us a little bit more confidence to help bring in investors because, we had somebody with, 3,000 doors on our team who'd been in the business, for quite a while. So coaching makes a lot of sense. And I wish I would have started earlier, is the only thing I always say.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's kind of a shortcut, if you can say,
Mhm.
because in the beginning, number one question is, oh, how many units do you have, or how many full cycles did you go? I mean, there's all these questions that investors ask you, but if you just started, you shouldn't tell them that you knew because they're not going to trust you. So that's why you leverage the team, you leverage the coach, right? So you insert yourself in the team, and that's how you get things done until you get the experience or some hours under your, well, years, I should say, under your belt. So that's important because coach, they give you leverage, and also they can call in favors for you. Listen, we were getting a loan, and our coach called the his lender. Guess
Mhm.
what? Our rate was like a point less. So like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, look at this. Let's go. So if
Yeah.
you think about it, right? Yeah, you're spending, I don't know, $20,000 on coaching, for example, but don't think of it as spending on them. You're investing in yourself. So now you're $20,000 more valuable, and
Mhm.
people are are spending hundreds of thousands to be
Yeah.
in the circle because it would be impossible to get into that circle. Let me just tell you the story, which
Mhm.
is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So I went to this event, and the event was like $1,000, which
Mhm.
is super expensive. Then I had to fly to Utah, right? And I'm in Jersey, so it's a
Yeah.
long flight. I'm flying there, hotels. So it's like $3,000, right? So first night of the event, nothing got started yet. I'm sitting, downstairs in the restaurant, and somebody
Mhm.
comes over to me, and Georgia Bray, right?
Yeah,
His
I know
name.
George. Yeah.
So he has like 5,000 doors or something like that,
Mhm.
maybe even more. And I'm new. So he sits down and starts eating lunch, and we're just chatting. And
Mhm.
then one of the biggest brokers come over, right,
Mhm.
from Marcus and Millichap, and we're all chatting.
Mhm.
Then few more people, then a lender comes over, another syndicator. There's a group of 10 people, and I'm in this crowd. They're
Mhm.
sitting all around me because that was the only empty table, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you this. So this $3,000 worth getting into this group and just chatting with those people for like half a night and just picking their brain and how they doing deals, and they talking about where they looking, what are they doing now. This is just like total insider, I guess,
Yeah.
track of how they're thinking, of how experienced operators doing business. So in my opinion, it's worth it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Some of my biggest breakthroughs have come at conferences like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of big ones. I was talking with somebody who I saw a pitch deck from him the other day, and I still talk to this guy very frequently, but I think he's got like 9,000 doors, right? So he's been doing this at a high level for a very long time, and he's the one that suggested to me that instead of finding partners, to start hiring people. And when I really thought about that, I looked at where he was and how he got to where he was, and it wasn't by. I mean, obviously they're strategic partnerships, but it was just one of these moments that really changed the course of my business. Just being around these people. Similar event, different conference, went to dinner with a lot of guys, and it kind of strokes your ego to be the smartest person in the room, but it's a lot better for you if you're not, and I was the least experienced operator in the room. And, same thing. I learned some key takeaways that have just changed how I do things for the better. And yeah, getting to these conferences, being in the same room with people, I think that's very, very valuable. And one thing I would add, if let's say you're brand new and you're sitting at a table with, somebody who's got a reputation, got a lot of experience, and somebody new comes in, they're going to assume it's just natural. They're going to make the assumption that you're close to the same level. They're not going to look at you and think you're a new person. So being around these people, you kind of borrow their credibility, whether it's with coaching or whether it's, you're at a table with somebody, you're going to lunch with people, you are able to borrow credibility in these transactions.
Yeah, and it's consistency. You can't just go to one and just end it. You go to multiple, and I'll give you this. My first year I went to like 6 of them,
Yeah.
and people go to like every month. I went to 6, and that was a lot. And guess what? After the fourth one, after the fourth event, I
Mhm.
pretty much knew 50% of the room.
Yep.
Yeah, and those are like 500 to 1,000 people events
Mhm.
because it's the same crowd, it's the same people. There's not a lot of variety here because the same people are doing deals. Let it be, let's say, multifamily or parks or RV storage, hotels, whatever. But they all doing the same thing. They all know each other because it's a very, very tight circle. So
Mhm.
you know a lot of people. As you're
Yeah.
gonna come to these events and being consistent, that's the most important. You'll learn more and more, and people will recognize you. So it's really important to see if where are you in your
Mhm.
journey, right? So if you want to be passive and try it out, try it out. If you cannot make it to those events and you're like, you know what, I want to be a GP because it just sounds so cool, right? Even though, listen, there's a lot of stuff that goes in the back of being a GP that's not cool at all. I mean, it's really, you just have to find yourself, where are you in the space? And by not being cool, like for example, I'll give you an example, right? So last month, I was looking at Excel spreadsheets and receipts. So that's
Mhm.
what GPs do. They don't just take pictures in front of buildings and post it on social media. I
Mhm.
was auditing a property manager. So we were looking at the books and receipts and stuff. I'm looking at Excel spreadsheets for a month. So it's not all, cool stuff flying and doing all this kind of stuff. You do all
Yeah.
this type of grind work, I mean, mold remediations and things like that, and fixing leaks. And if you want to be a GP, this is what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a 5-year journey. Don't forget. If you
Yeah. Well,
find
I
a deal,
probably I probably spent a half hour last week on stump grinding. We had a
there
couple of
you
stump grinds.
go.
It was
So,
just like,
yeah.
and
So
part of me
you don't
is
want,
part of me is asking, why am I talking to these guys about stump grinding? We have a contract. They should just go out and grind the stump. But yeah, it's just like there's a lot of issues that come up. A lot of it's not glamorous. I mean, the stump grinding thing, one of the stumps had grown into the chain link fence, and they're asking what to do. You get these little things that you don't see in the pictures, you don't see on LinkedIn or
um,
the social media. But yeah, every once in a while you got to look at the spreadsheets, you got to process the receipts, or somebody has to do it. So,
yeah. And
but yeah.
since, you have to earn your pay, this is what you do,
Yeah.
unless you have another responsibility on the team. But yeah.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Well, cool. Well, let's talk about some of the deals you've done. What when you get into deals, I mean, what role do you usually play? How has that evolved over time?
Yeah, it changed absolutely. In the beginning, I was trying to look for deals, kind of going direct to seller. Found a few deals that way, especially one in Kansas City. Then there was another one in the Carolinas. They were going well. Then I kind of transitioned to raising capital and also helping with investor relations part as well. But now I'm really focusing, and this is just for my own thing. I'm focusing on asset management. I really
Mhm.
want to learn the insides and out of this whole process and the whole procedure from beginning to end, because a few of our properties in Kansas City right now, we got our own property management company. And so it's really important for me to kind of understand their
Yeah.
issues so we can have a better relationship this way. That's why I'm just literally volunteering to be a fly in the wall and just kind of sit and just listen and be an asset manager. And I can give my input if I know something or have some sort of valuable insight. So it kind of evolved a little bit. I don't do direct to seller anymore. It's more about broker relationships now, because I kind of realized that if you go in direct to seller, you're looking at smaller deals, and we kind of grew. So we're looking at 100 doors and stuff like that. So I would say 100 and up, you have all the brokers involved. So it's not typical that you find mom and pop places that are 100 doors and up. They're around 20, 30, 40. But also, don't forget, if you're going direct to seller, you have to have a system too. And if you find 1 or 2 deals a year, it's also a pretty difficult thing. So, and you have to find a buyer as well,
Yeah.
or if you're going to JV with somebody. So this is how it changed. Of course, everybody's raising money now. Yeah, everybody's a capital raiser. That goes without saying.
Everybody has to be a capital raiser
Has
now,
to,
you know?
has to.
So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, and it's nice to see the progression, and I'm glad you mentioned the asset management. It's something that not a lot of people are focused on up front, but it is by far the most important thing. You
It
know, I'm
is.
a lot of people talk about, you know, how to purchase deals, which granted is what new people need. You have to purchase the deal before you're able to manage it, right? But so I think a lot of the focus comes on purchasing the deal. But, you know, I mean, once you purchase the deal, you know, now you just bought a business, you know, and it's just like, I bought a business, now what? It isn't really, you know. So anyway, the asset management is important. That's where you make or break your deals. Yeah. So glad to see that you're focused on that one and work in that direction.
Yeah, I'll add some to this because people, you're right, focusing on buying something. But buying, let's say you buy it in 6 to 8 months, yeah, you got it. But now you got to operate it for 5 years. You got to be in it
Yeah.
each day or have property management calls weekly. We have them weekly now, but it's for 5 years. Just think about it. How many people do you know that stay at one job for 5 years?
Yeah.
Right? They switch. A lot of people switch. In here, you got to stay. You got to do the same, pretty much the same thing, being consistent for all this time. You're running a business now, right? So forget about purchasing. You're doing it. And the funny thing I want to add, so our Carolina deal, a few LPs that got in, they wanted to see how we run the deals. And they're like, can we be on your GP calls? And I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. So we gave them a Zoom link. And first 3 weeks, they were all coming consistently, nonstop, you know, it's fine. Now
Mhm.
we're a year and a half in. You know how many people on this call? Three.
Yep.
All GP, me and 2 other guys that are running the deal.
Yeah.
That's it. No LPs. Everybody quit because everybody's like, oh, yeah, I have this. I have an excuse. I have another call. I have, what do you mean another call? You're running a business. You can't say I have another call. If you're a
Yeah. I mean,
GP, there is no
you block
excuse.
that time off. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter where you are. You're on a plane, you're picking up the phone. You in
Yeah.
another country, or you traveling to Europe, or you on a beach in Aruba or something, you better be on that Zoom call because it's a
Hmm.
lot of money at stake, right? If the roof is leaking, you're not on a call to make the decision, it's still leaking. You know, it's gonna flood, it's gonna destroy
Yeah.
the apartment. So
Hmm.
it's really important to be on top of it. So as people say, oh, it's so cool to be a GP. Yeah, absolutely. By untitled, yeah. But
Yeah.
you have to do this thing for 5 years and picture that's one
Mhm.
deal. If you get
Yeah.
into three, four, you do the same thing. Yeah, you can delegate, you'll grow, but still you have to be in it. You
Yeah.
have to make the decisions because ultimately, let's say you're responsible for the money and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
that's the important thing that people are missing because they're like, oh, yeah, it's so cool. I got a deal and that's it. Look at that. I post pictures. No,
Yeah.
now you got to make the decisions. You got to be there. You got to like put on those huge boots and stuff and walk around the weeds around the apartment
Yeah.
complex and look at the cracked foundation and see what repairs are needed. So you
Hmm.
got to get down and dirty.
Yeah, and that's something I hope everybody realizes. You know, if you're going out trying to sell a 3 to 5 year hold, you've got to be prepared to spending the next 3 to 5 years managing that property. And, you know, some people don't realize, I think, what they're getting into. It's not just hand the keys over to the property manager and let them go. That's a really easy way to run a property into the ground. You
Yeah.
know, so 3 to 5 year hold means you're basically lining yourself up with a job for the next 3 to 5 years. Doesn't matter what role in the company, I mean, what role in the syndication you have, you're lining yourself up with a job for 3 to 5 years. You know, and if you
Yeah.
come in as, and I'm using air quotes, just a capital raiser, what happens if other people aren't as committed? You may end up picking up the slack for other people as well. So regardless of your role, regardless of where you're at, 3 to 5 year hold means you're lined up with a job or with responsibilities for that next 3 to 5 years. But
Absolutely. And a lot of people are missing this key point that you're
mhm,
running a business. Look at any business person. They're
yeah,
working 7 days a week, 80 hours and stuff like that to grow their business to make it happen. So this is exactly how it is. And it's not as easy as finding a deal and that's it. You hands off, you off to the next one. No.
We've been talking for quite a while already. This is it went fast, but
Well, because I'm
let's
so much fun to talk to, of
I
course.
know, I know, I know. That's why I have you on, But let's start wrapping things up. And I got a couple of questions, to finish up the episode. But question number one is, what's next for you?
You know what? Well, I have actually several. My
Hmm.
ultimate goal is to have a family office, and
Hmm.
this is exactly what I'm working on now to basically grow into a family office. And
Hmm.
second goal is to open up an animal sanctuary and a rescue farm in New Jersey. I have two kids; they're 6 and 8 years old, and this is where I got the idea from. We went to this farm and we saw these beautiful horses and everything, and my kids were feeding them, and the horse was
Yeah,
just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like,
yeah.
why is this beautiful, huge horse here? Well, what is it doing? Well, apparently it was a race horse
Mhm.
in Canada, and it broke its leg. And what do they do with race horses when they break their legs? You know,
Shoot 'em.
so
Yeah.
this New Jersey farm went up there, filled out a bunch of paperwork, paid
Mhm.
tons of money, brought the horse here. It's a gorgeous, beautiful animal. So they rescued the horse. And this is where
Nice.
we got the idea. We can do like shelter. We can rescue animals and at the same time teach kids and adults how
Mhm.
awesome it is to be around animals. So that's kind of the goal, the ultimate goal, I should say, the
Mhm.
ultimate final goal.
Awesome. Awesome. Good luck with that. It's worthy cause there. Next question. What advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out in the multifamily space?
In addition to everything that we just talked about, grinding and learning and education, I think a huge, huge thing that people are missing is working on yourself,
Yeah.
right? Forget about watching TV or watching, your favorite shows and things like that. Educate yourself, get your mind right.
Yeah.
Maybe start exercising, deal with
Yeah.
stress. How you going to deal with stress? You can meditate, you can be in a zone or in a vortex, some people say it, or exercising or something like that. So it's really important to work on yourself. So read a lot of books, the 4 a.m. club, people that wake up at 4 a.m. Look at like Ryan Serhant, right? That guy's up at 5. He's in the
Mhm.
office by 7. He's the first one opening the office. That's why he's so successful. So you have to really work on yourself, on your body, on your mind to be successful in this business because it's not so easy to stay sane. So if that's the right word. So it's really important. Like my thing, I started meditation. I'm doing yoga. I'm exercising daily. I'm trying to listen to affirmations, keep positive mindset. It's really important to be in this
Yeah.
positive mindset. So work on yourself. It's huge. Don't just neglect your body, yourself. It's important.
Yeah, I've got a friend that reminds me a lot. You've got to fill your cup up before you're able to fill other people.
Yeah.
And so it's very similar. I mean, you work on yourself first, fill your cup first, and then you can help other people. But all right. And last question, how can listeners learn more about you?
Oh, I'm all over social media. Vlad Arakcheyev. I have a very unique name. So I'm Facebook, Instagram. I even started my YouTube channel. I know it's such a cheesy name. It's Wheels and Real Estate Deals. I
Hmm.
ride motorcycles, right? So every time I go on an appointment, I take my motorcycle and I kind of just do a small video on a bike, and then I
Yeah.
show a property or something like that, or do like a little description there. So I'm kind of keeping it light. I'm not gonna overload you with a bunch of numbers and things like that. It's just not my
Yeah.
style. So yeah, I'm on Instagram as
Wheels, yeah.
well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So check it
So,
out.
so how about this? What you said you ride motorcycles, plural.
Yeah.
What bikes do you have?
Well, before that, I had a KTM Sports Adventure because I'm
I mean,
tall. I'm
yeah,
six
that's what I was
one.
going to say. You're a tall guy.
I am,
I've
yeah. So before I
yeah,
had a naked bike, but I couldn't fit on that thing, right? My hips were just locking up. So I
yeah,
got a sports adventure motorcycle. I had a
yeah,
KTM. Now I got a Ducati, another sports adventure bike. We
yeah,
do a
nice.
little bit of it's used. Don't go like this.
Yeah,
It's used. It's not brand new. I'm
yeah,
not and we're doing a lot of off-roading and stuff like that. So I have a few, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a
awesome.
lot.
Yeah, I've got a Yamaha V Star in the garage, and I actually didn't get it out the entire year, which I'm regretting right now. And it's Halloween today, so October 31st. So getting it out right now would mean I'd be winterizing it again in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I was just imagining, seeing somebody of your height on that Yamaha V Star, and it kind of made me
No.
chuckle on the inside. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
can't do those. I had a Kawasaki Vulcan and I just couldn't fit correctly on
Yeah.
it. The correctly is I was like all over the place. But
Yeah.
so I found that I have to sit upright, sit up
Mhm.
straight, and Sports Adventure is the one. They call them touring sometimes, but I call them Sports Adventure.
Yeah, and KTM and BMW, I mean, they all have bikes like that are kind
Yeah,
of better for the taller people. But
absolutely.
yeah, that's one thing. Of course, Idaho Falls, I've only got like 3 good months of riding, but one thing looking forward, I'd like to have like 3 or 4 different motorcycles, one of each type, cruiser, a sports bike, off-road. But anyway,
Like a
that's
dirt bike. Yeah, a lot of
yeah,
people are into dirt now, going
yeah.
trail riding and stuff like that and sand. I'm in Jersey, so I was riding today. It's 80
Mhm.
degrees today on October
Yeah,
31st, which is absolutely nuts. And
yeah.
yeah, I typically winterize it at the end of December and start riding in March.
Yeah, and here it's a little different. I mean, it's in the 30s, and so I could still ride it, but there's a point to where once you're going over 20, 30 miles an hour, it gets really, you need to have a lot of good gear. It's what it is.
Yeah, your limbs are like falling off since you live in basically like North Pole, according to me.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, just he's talking motorcycles now, but living in San Diego, I used to ride my motorcycle every day to and from work, and it wasn't open a highway, and so like the fastest I would go is 40 miles an hour. But I remember I had my lowest temperature. I wouldn't ride my motorcycle if it was less than 42 degrees. It was 42 degrees or above. The gear that I had would work well, and I'd get to work. And
42? Why 42?
because one day I went at 41 degrees and I showed up to work absolutely freezing, and
Oh,
it's what it was. But yeah, 42 was kind of like my cutoff. For some reason, that was the temperature. So if I woke up and if it was 42 or higher, I'd ride my motorcycle in. If it was 41 or lower, I'd get in the car. But
yeah. I'm pretty close. I'm at 40. I'm just gonna make
yeah,
it super easy. If it's
yeah,
40, I go. If it's below 40, then it's just way too
yeah.
cold. I'm not gonna to get dressed for that cold weather with all these pants and clothes and
Yeah.
heated gear and stuff like that. It's gonna take you 30 minutes. So it's just not for me. I just jump in the car.
And then if you're just going to lunch, you got to take it all off too. It's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that
okay,
doesn't.
I'm at a restaurant now. Where am I going to put all this stuff? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's fun, but it's not a cold weather sport by any stretch of the imagination. But
yeah.
anyway, Vlad, thanks for coming on the show today. Very much appreciate it. The name of your YouTube site again,
Oh, wheels and real estate deals.
Wheels and Real Estate Deals. All right. So I guess
Yeah, yeah.
little Wheels and Real Estate Deals today. So very, very appropriate. But anyway, thanks for coming on the show. Very much appreciate your time today.
Of course. Thank you so much, Brian.